Eva, we've all been waiting for you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and my apologies now, because I thought, because my French is very basic, I was going to have at least French slides, so I didn't make any English slides, but I thought, because I'm just presenting in English, I'll accompany it with the French slides. So I guess they're not really needed, but I'll put them up anyway, if you don't mind, so that we have a little bit of a guideline, basically.
Okay.
Is it up now? Can you see the slides?
I think I can stop share. Maybe that'll.
Oh.
There it is.
Oh, okay,
there it
good.
is. Good.
Let's just have a bit of delay, I guess. Yeah, so I mean, first of all, I really want to thank everybody again for all your help in what truly has been a disaster for us and could have been even worse without all of your help. And the group that came together, we basically felt that it came together to protect Pomeroy Farm. We basically felt that it was time to continue on some sort of a formal group to basically be the citizen voice or hold council accountable. And so we were thinking on how to do this. And we kind of figured that it is naturally easiest to do it within the organization that I have founded about 5 years ago, which is actually housed on the farm, or is the farm, because it's all based on outdoor activities and on the land. Because my background basically is in disaster response, civil protection, and I always marveled at how this property has so many various areas where one could really train all these different aspects, whether it's low angle rescue or something like that, or there are areas that have landslide or erosion, and so all kinds of practical aspects that lend themselves to actually training how to respond to disasters. So we at first thought of calling the group the Community Resilience Group, but then we thought it's better to have a name that resonates with everybody and is easier. And so it's called now the Community Action Team. And what we're trying to do with this, I think, is to basically integrate all the lessons that we've learned and have talked about this evening as well, which translates into the connection between citizens and council. So we felt with what has happened with the expropriation threat to the Pomeroy farm that there hasn't been a lot of interaction, and it's not all blame on council, but it's also on citizens who, like us, only seem to be getting engaged when there's a problem rather than being engaged continuously. And I mean, for myself, I do blame my lack of French skills on that, but I'm determined to change this now and be more active. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of a background on the organization. So the focus basically is building disaster readiness and community resilience through youth engagement. It says Civil Protection Youth Canada, but that is really to invite youth to have a role and have a leadership role. I founded the organization in 2019, but you can imagine it's not easy to start a new not-for-profit or social enterprise in any circumstances, and during a pandemic, it's that much more challenging. So those were the last couple of years. For everybody who does not know me, so I have lived in Cantley since 2003. We live on Schmeppink, and we have been taking care of the Pomeroy farm since 2007. Actually, before I go to this, I should also kind of say that we've had not only a very strong and close connection to the land, but also to Rowena Pomeroy. We were very fond and close, and she's not only been an inspiration, but she also really was our children's grandmother. And for all of you who know that Rowena actually lost a son in a tragic accident, I just kind of kept feeling that she really deserves to have a second set of grandchildren. So this all worked out really well. And then when this expropriation threat happened, we kind of, it was also mentioned in the session, you know, for us, it was obviously a lot bigger than just the land as such, because it just identify with it. And we've spent so much time there and had all these wonderful memories, and that it just felt so wrong that this was now under attack. But it was mentioned in the council meeting itself too, that this was a disaster of a different kind. So when you think of it, when I started the organization, it was all about an all hazards approach. And with climate change being here, an increase of severe weather events and increased disaster frequency and severity, there's so much more that we can do to be prepared and to minimize impact. And so introducing the training for the various technical capabilities has been quite difficult, especially without funding. But what happened, you know, I just realized that it was just a disaster of a different sort that I hadn't thought of earlier. But all the principles that we applied to dealing with disasters also apply to this situation. And so it was only natural to take the group into the organization as the piece that is responsible for monitoring what vulnerabilities we have in our community and to minimize risk of something going wrong. And that's why you may have seen the ad in the last Echo, and the English version was in the lowdown to Hull. The community came together, and because we were able to draw on existing networks, trust and expertise, we were able to quickly mobilize and change the outcome. And this is basically what the community action team is going to do going forward. So the goals and objectives of the group are basically coming together to create an informed community, having a presence and asking questions, coordination to hold council accountable, to ensure transparency and representation of our values, and to identify and address threats that impact our collective safety and well-being. This includes events that put at risk our community values, environment, health, heritage, and economic well-being. The mandate, as we have now described it, but it's not all written in stone yet, is that with a disaster mitigation lens, the committee will, or the team will focus on identifying risks with regards to climate change adaptation and sustainable urban planning, to encourage and invite citizen engagement and participation to collectively ensure Cantley's resilience and prosperous future, as well as to identify shortfalls and vulnerabilities, develop and implement measures to increase Cantley's disaster readiness, based on the guidance from the federal government in form of the recently published National Adaptation Strategy, the NAS, and the Disaster Risk Profile. To do that, we need you. And as we've said earlier, there are already all these groups that have a specific focus. But what we kind of envision that we could do is be the umbrella for all those groups, and to make sure that whenever we are trying to protect something that is important to us as a community, we can have this network to exchange our experience and come together and be a voice basically for the citizens of Cantley. So the way we envision it is basically what we've experienced in this expropriation threat, that we have a bigger group. So we would like to ask you to join our group as a volunteer if you haven't done so officially. because we've stopped using the list that we had so that we don't bombard people with emails they actually really don't want to get. So if you want to continue as a volunteer for our group, please email me again so that we can add you to the group. And what that means to you if you join as a volunteer is basically that you follow developments via our group email and jump into action if you have advice, expertise, interest, or if you feel that you can contribute with a specific task that we're tackling. Everything else that we do is an open invitation for you as a result of being a volunteer with our team. That means you can join the core team, which meets once a month, and we've kind of decided that that's the Wednesday after a council meeting, for an hour and a half at the farm, or alternatively, if it's not available, at the Manoir de la Forêt, if you want to be more actively engaged and help us move things forward. And in addition, you will also always be invited to all of the CPYC programming and social events that we hold. And I just wanted to clarify that again, because of the name of the organization. A lot of people think that it's only for youth, but the idea behind that was really just to give youth a leadership opportunity, because the program and the initiative itself is very new. And so we thought that including youth in it or giving them a leadership role is actually very timely, because not only are they the responders in the future, but they really need to be engaged with what's going on or what's going wrong, so that they learn how to deal with it as well. But obviously the organization needs adults to be efficient, and it's meant to be a community group, which was meant to be in collaboration with the municipality. So I agree a lot with what Mike said earlier too. It was a little bit unfortunate that this whole expropriation thing has unfolded as it did, but I'm not closing that door of cooperation. And I don't think there is an issue with us holding council accountable while we're collaborating, because in the end, I mean, this is what it should be, as they are we vote for them to represent us. There needs to be collaboration. So that's basically where we're at right now. So we are looking at various issues that have come up through the expropriation threat that we're pursuing at the moment, and that we feel that the threat is not necessarily over, and we need to keep being vigilant at what is coming up next and how we can basically ensure that council is aware of what citizens want. So I see that all the things that have been discussed in this meeting are relevant to that cause, and therefore I echo what Margaret has said, you know, that the connections that we can all form are essential to protecting ourselves and our community and the values that we have. So I would love for you all to join our group and stay in touch, and to move forward together. Thank you very much for this opportunity to present what we're trying to do.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you so much.